Alrighty, hello everyone. Good evening or good night. I mean, for me, it's almost closing in on night here today. And here we are joined by Gaseous as the co-caster once again,
Yes.
and we're gonna be witnessing the match between Metalone and Steel Talons here at the best of eight, in the low mid tournament section. And oh my God, could you please close that slide? Thank you.
I mean, from what I can see, I know how Steel plays for sure, but I never saw Metalone playing.
Yeah, I've
Like never.
actually I've seen him play once, right? With Chaos when he played Chaos, but that was literally one game and didn't really show very much. I mean, showed that he was kind of generally a bit unaware and not used to the current meta and what the builds they do, but he seemed to know some basics at the very least at the game, right? And it does seem like he is a GDI player as well here, so that is a given, and we are seeing a GDI mirror here, in fact, coming from both players. Um, and also, I apologize if the casting is not going to be up to par with some of my previous casts, since it is a bit late and the stream was basically, it just started really haphazardly out of literally nowhere. But anyway, starting off the first match of the best of eight here on Tournament Odyssey between Metalone and Steel Talons. Both GDI here, and Steel Talons playing as the blue, and Metalone playing as the red, right? So Metalone, I don't know too much about him. I've actually never really seen him play except for that one game, which was actually like a month ago, so ages ago, right? Other than that, though, the things I know about him is that he is a very old player. He's been playing back from like in like 2012, maybe even earlier than that. And that's basically all he knows how to play. It's like R12 patch or even earlier than that. So he's completely not familiar with R18 as a patch or as a general concept. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he's able to do anything with that lack of knowledge here, despite having probably better game overall game knowledge. He does have a lack of specific patch knowledge in this circumstance, and perhaps map knowledge as well.
I mean, the game is like straightforward at this point. The maps are straightforward. They're easy to remember, easy to get used to them, unless they're completely new, like the new Desolator maps pack from standard map packs,
Yeah. I mean,
which
that's
are completely for me really confusing. At least for me,
I mean,
I
it's
never
not
get used to them.
that's true, but it's not included in the map pool. We're just playing the standard R18 maps with a few maps actually taken out of the standard R18 pack here and there. But yeah, so far we're seeing better micro from Steeltalon. He does catch the Rifleman Scout of Metalone. And Metalone also not capturing one of his tip spikes. He didn't even make the engineer for it. Probably not aware of its existence here. So he definitely isn't really too familiar with the map here, it seems like.
Uh, I mean, the Odyssey is really most popular map. I mean, one of the most popular maps, like alongside with the Twist Tiberium Rifts or some sort of islands.
Yeah, it is the
Odyssey is
most popular map now, but back in the day, I assume the things that were played are Pipeline Problems, Tournament Arena, and Tournament, something like probably
as
like
well.
Decision. Not even sure about
The
Dust
both,
Bowl, but probably Arena and Rift. Those were the things played. And currently, Medellin will lose his scouting pitbull here, but he does get a scout here, nonetheless.
He does get a scout. What he scouted eco. He scouted standard eco play, so he's able to absolutely go for his own eco as
Yeah,
well.
and Steel Talon here, he actually was very uneasy going to this game. He was not really ready for his opponent here because he doesn't know anything about him whatsoever. But it seems like he might be getting some confidence here as he is dealing a lot of damage here to Melone's power plant with just these two foxholes of his. And he seems to have a pretty good hold in this game so far.
Yeah, I can see like he has the vision for the war factory. He knows what the units are being pumped out of the war factory. And we can see absolutely he's even up in the eco game.
Right, yeah, definitely, yeah, and he's actually ahead in the build order now a lot, by a lot as well, and he has more units too. So Metalon is actually going to be losing a harvester here on its second field, only now microing it away, and it'll be too little, too late. This harvester will die without any defense here, not even a turret being built by him. So We're definitely seeing delays coming out from him in general. I mean, I'm not sure how much practice he had in the recent week or so of playing, but it does seem like he's definitely on the back foot in this game.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, now the Steelhound don't want to go like this. Absolutely, he's on the Melon is on the core factory. He gets repairs. He actually gets cut outside of this. Only one people is getting repaired instead of all of them.
Yeah,
He absolutely
Metalone,
can
yeah,
play
is fighting
now.
under his war factory, but so far hasn't been helping him all that much. It's more or
Oh,
less even trades here, despite Metalone
yeah,
losing his first initial harvester.
Metal people is actually firing on the rifleman squad. It's actually absolutely great tanking unit right now in this
And look
situation.
at this,
Losing people out the pinball.
10 harvester economy for a Steel Talon.
Good, and that is what you need.
That is exactly what you need, but Metalone actually stacking a lot of harvesters on his first field, which is also about to go dry, and his second field not even being mined yet. Steel Talon's keeping up the pressure of his pitbulls over here still, and actually forcing Metalone to go to into a double war factory here, which is also very, very bad for economy. So Steel Talon is going to be actually insanely ahead just by the eco game.
Just by the eco game, just by also by the pressure, he's absolutely denying the mining on the second field. It's almost empty field for the metal alone on the in the main base. Absolutely, he's denying everything. He's keeping pressure. He doesn't want to go out. This is the first priority thing. He's gonna stop all those pitbulls for sure.
Yeah, and wow, I mean, forcing Metalone to, transition into priority tanks basically means that Metalone has absolutely zero, counterplay here in this game, and that is very unfortunate for Metalone, as he really needs that counterplay right now, but Steel Talon's actually doing the right thing, going for Hammerheads and Pitbull's very maneuverable army, and he has the numbers to be able to really make it work.
Yes. Right now, he needs to stop absolutely producing pitbulls, only focusing on hammerheads and transitioning into tier 3 units absolutely right now. The hammerheads are gonna be ideal
mean,
versus the predator things, especially with AP ammo and sheer numbers absolutely of
considering
pitbulls.
Metalone, yeah, not having very much, I think Pitbulls alone will be enough. And if he gets the upgrade right now, and he does get the upgrade for the Pitbull Mortar right now, so he can basically just power through and just kill all of Metalone's infrastructure with just these Pitbulls. I mean, there are free priority tanks here, but the number of Pitbulls here is also kind of insane. There are 3 Hammerheads, 4 Hammerheads now from Steel Talon. First Refinery from Metalone already falling, and these priority tanks will follow. Metalone actually not having anything to counter this anymore, just due to the lack of the economy. I mean, Steel Talon is one full field basically ahead in terms of eco, one expansion ahead in terms of doing his MCV, and all the way on tier 3, whereas Metalone is still on tier 1.
It's absolutely over at this point. There's no point of getting return from this game, and that's the GG being called.
Yeah,
It's
Metalone
over.
has been defeated, and the first game goes to Steel Talon.
Yeah, straightforward play by Steel Talons, keeping the pressure, making enemy overspend, and just EQ up in yourself. The difference in Gingo is absolutely insane.
Right, yeah, I mean, certainly, I mean, Metalone here lacked the defense. First of all, he lacked the knowledge to catch that second tip spike on the map. Second of all, he lacked the defense of his first harvester initially, and then afterwards, it just started kind of adding up, and he started crumbling, kind of just under the amount of pitbulls that Steel Talon was able to put out. Yeah. Okay, Metalone choosing a rift. Choosing some rift as the map of the day. Uh, yeah. Right, so yeah, I mean, there's also this tendency probably that we might be seeing here from Metalone, that he's going to be picking more vanilla maps than any of the newer maps like Odyssey here, just because he knows these maps to a T, and can actually probably shine in this case, rather than on something like Odyssey. Despite Odyssey being and looking very simple to us right now, perhaps in this current meta, right? It probably is. could be potentially a very new concept to a person that is stuck back in 2012 in terms of Kane's Wrath. Yeah, good luck. Have fun gets called by Steeltalon. And we're heading off to the second round, or second match of this best of 8. Right here we're seeing again a double GDI, and Metalone playing as the purple GDI, whereas Steeltalon playing as the pink one. It seems like, and that is actually going to make it very hard to differentiate between the two. But thankfully, it's not like red, orange, or something. That would have been even worse. Yeah. So actually, I wonder what Metalone is going to be up to here on this map, since this is supposedly the map that could give him a lot of advantage just in terms of general knowledge, since Steeltalon probably is the one here that is a bit more inexperienced in terms of this map.
Something that we remember the Willow at the beginner tournaments is basically made of new players, for the newcomers. Absolutely, but Metalone is the different kind. He's the veteran of the game with a lot of absolutely games being put on and hours in the Kane's Wrath, but he's not used to new maps. So he will see a lot of like really old maps on the new patch. So it will be most likely we're gonna be seeing the Dust Bowl, Decision, Arena, the maps you mentioned before. So this talent will absolutely have harder time for himself. He is into new maps. Absolutely.
Right. I mean, Steeltalon will be getting this tip strike on the bottom here, so he will be having 2 tip strikes in total. Not option to go for the third there on the bottom, considering it too risky, and it seems like that is warranted, as that garrisonable structure is garrisoned by Metalone, so that tip strike would not be attainable anyways. And Metalone scouting with the pitbull once again.
Melon is absolutely unconfident about himself. He's putting the $700 into one pitbull, right? And he needs to know what is going on the enemy side. Well, problem is the GTI doesn't have like that much amount of rushes, right?
Yeah, I mean,
You
GDI
you
does have a lot
most
of rushes, but I mean, they tend to not do those rushes against GDI as well,
yeah,
since I
GTI
mean,
mirrors usually comes down to economic game and preparing for late game or a more so aggression. But as well, you have a lot of rival squads. The rival squads are fast enough to get into enemy base and get enough information before the rush, so you can prepare yourself. You don't need the people that fast. Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, in terms of GDI rushing versus GDI, it's more of go big or go home, because I mean, if you're doing like a rig rush, right, rig rush alone will not actually be able to really attain you anything normally in a GDI versus GDI, since the opponent can just literally use home advantage and just build up the same units that you already are pushing with, right? It's pretty much impossible to do that rush normally and actually not be at a disadvantage. You have to have some sort of twist, like a Orca airfield, to just try to snipe the harvesters of your opponent while he's not looking and while he's not scouting, while he's not aware of it. Right now what we're seeing, it seems like Steeltalon is actually faster here on basically everything than is Metalone. And since they are playing a mirror, right, that is actually pretty crucial here.
It is. It absolutely is.
I mean, the scout from Steeltalon is good, right? Metalone scouting as well, though, to his credit. But the expansion from Steeltalon is actually a tad faster. Seems like he is routing, or actually making an extra harvester for that second field, which is very good. And it seems like Metalone, instead of getting more harvester in his second field, he will be losing his first. Once again, we have a repeat of the last game here. Basically the same thing happening, whereas Metalone just completely losing his harvester in his expansion. And it seems like Metalone's pitbulls were out of position. I mean, Steeltalon will actually be losing all of his pitbulls here to the pitbulls of Metalone. So this might actually give Metalone the upper hand he really needs to be able to come back in this game, since, I mean, pitbull numbers is very important in terms of GDI mirrors. Of course, there's different variations, like going to a lot of hammerheads, or potentially even going for sort of mid-game push with more heavy things like bird tanks, but those are a bit harder to pull off, especially if
There's
you're just used to spamming pitbulls the entire game.
Yeah, it can give me advantage, but there's one problem. The Steeltown is on 2 work factories. He has the watchtowers, he has the build radius, right? And he has those sheer numbers and eco, so he can absolutely pump out a lot of pit bulls. so it can absolutely stop any sort of push in terms of every single little detail about the game between those two. Steel Talons is absolutely ahead in
Right.
almost every single
Yeah, I mean,
situation.
Steel Talents actually did. I mean, he did kill the harvester for of Metalon for the price of like 4 or 5 of his pit bulls, and he actually did lose the short-term advantage in that scenario. And Metalon did have the numbers there on Steel Talon, but since that harvester did die and it's not harvesting anymore, Steel Talon has been actually able to catch up and overtake Metalon in terms of pit bull numbers now. Which is going to be proving as a problem to Metalone. As we can see, Steel Talons actually staying on that 5-5 Harvester Eco, which is oh so good, whereas Metalone stuck on 5-3, I believe.
5-3 and versus 5-5. When one harvester can be absolutely crucial to get the blue tip.
Yeah, but
He
once
has
it...
the map control, he has the mid control, he has vision over everything. So why you shouldn't go for blue tip? I mean, let's be honest, Steel Talons is right now focusing on getting one pit bull one at a time.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like almost a mistake here for Steel Talons fighting under the War Factory of the opponent. Even when he has numbers, he seems to be taking very bad trades here, losing the Hammerhead as well. Metalone finally forced into Prayer Tanks once again. I actually wouldn't be doing this if I were Metalone. It seems like Steel Talons actually throwing away a lot of pit bulls for no apparent reason, just to the bad trades under the War Factory of Metalone. And honestly, if Metalone would have kept on pushing and kept on spamming pit bulls, potentially could have actually had the numbers on Steel Talons to be able to do a bit more than he already could. But Steel Talons actually on tier 3 already, so he has an insane advantage over Metalone here. Whereas Metalone just getting his airfield down. And Steel Talons, I believe, already on the
Oh
expansion of some
no.
CB. Oh yeah, his horses do get caught out here.
Yeah. But,
Yeah,
but he's reacting really fast with the pit bulls. Both one harvester is getting saved. The MCB is getting ready. This is multi MCB, right? No, it's
no,
one
just a
MCB.
single MCB. Just expansion to the third field, and I mean, one harvester for the price of that many pit bulls. I'm not even sure if that's really worth it for Metalone here. And Metalone actually gonna be losing his own harvester to a bad route. So this is actually a very bad trade for Metalone here in this case. And now
Pure
we're basically
numbers.
seeing the same army composition for both players, but um, Steel Talon actually just having more pit bulls here.
Global Refactory with all those on this eco actually proved to be useful. There's sheer numbers of people are absolutely destroying every single unit of metal alone, and ST in the back of the base is getting eco back up to the full strength of the contested field. Metal alone has really bad positioning, and also really struggles with the trading against the forces of ST.
Yeah, and
ST
GG
gets
gets called by
called.
Metalone, and yeah, I mean, this position is very bad for him. The blue tip is getting harvested by Steel Talon. Steel Talon also has the tech advantage and the expansion on the middle field. So even if Metalone would be able to defend here, he would basically be left with absolutely no resources to speak of and no way to fight the tier 3 army of Steel Talon that could potentially come. Um, yeah, I mean, so far it doesn't look like the mirrors are going to be working out for Metalone here, almost at all. Since I mean
Or
he
even
seems to just be a little bit behind here on
or
everything.
even his own like known vanilla maps. That's also issue.
Finally, someone eating blue tips as Emperor. Yes, indeed. We see Steel Talon going for that blue tip. Very late, I must admit. It's super late that he's going for the blue tip. He
There
should...
was a he absolutely is understandable what Steel Talons did. He actually realized he has the control of the middle tip field, so he can absolutely go for it, right? He doesn't want he didn't want to risk sending one blue tip harvester and try to fight for it with low numbers. He needs to be sure that the area is safe and he can go for it. So I absolutely understand Steel and I'm absolutely doing the same.
I mean, in terms of low mids, certainly, yeah. I mean, oh, it's a best of 8. Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is also, because uh, defending the harvester in the contested boot tip is not necessarily a must when the army of the opponent isn't next to it. Um, right? That is kind of the thing there. So if you provide like a counter attack with your pit bulls, for example, try to kill the harvester of your opponent on his first or second field, and he has to move his own pit bulls to try to intercept that, right? He will either be letting your harvester get blue tip freely or be losing one of his. So it's either going to be an even trade at least, or you're just going to get blue tip and you're going to be winning. That is also kind of a thing you can definitely do, especially when your first field is already, mined up and you don't have any harvesters there. It's always useful to send some harvesters over, even if it really isn't a very safe space to be. Anyway, starting off the third game here of this best of 8, playing the mirror again. We have Steeltalon as the yellow GDI and Metalone as the purple one. Now, I'm kind of surprised here, actually, that Metalone is going for the mirror matchup still. I mean, Steeltalons obviously will be still going for it since, I mean, he has been winning the 2 games beforehand, so no reason to change anything here, really. But for Metalone, I'm kind of surprised he's still only playing GDI. I mean, he did pick Steeltalons in one of the times he was in the lobby, but he didn't stick with them.
Now it's gonna be the poker situation. Remember, this is the poker version. The
Yeah,
old gnome
and
dodgeball.
Steeltalons
And they,
will get the garrison.
oh, the garrison blocks the path.
Yeah,
Oh.
Metalone is really delayed, and it seems like even the engineer walking all the way around will not help him because there was another rifleman squad from Steeltalon actually wrapping the tip spike. So Metalone will have to probably wait for an APC here to be able to safely get a tip spike, which is very unfortunate. Actually, another rifleman from Steeltalon might be catching the engineer off guard, but no, it turns the other way. Doesn't catch the engineer at all.
It's really unfortunate for purple player on the bottom. Getting delayed so much in terms of eco from the one spike.
Yeah, and there's the APC for Metalone to be able to capture a tip spike. That is a very logical move from him. Personally, wouldn't do it actually because it just seems like too much of a commitment anyways, and it really holds up the eco. There's a lot of lag coming in here. Not sure what that was about, but anyways, yeah. But it is this APC engineer kind of thing when you don't get the tip spike is a very common thing back in the day, as far as I'm aware. A lot of people liked to do this kind of thing. Even perhaps sometimes not going for tip spikes at all initially in the opening phase of the game, and just later on going for the APC engineer. And here, yeah, I mean, the thing is, Metalone doesn't really have a scout here on Steeltalon. Steeltalon, however, having a very good scout on Metalone, having a foxhole in his base, and look at this. This refinery from Metalone actually very late because of that engineer delayed.
And no $500 return. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, he does recapture the tip spike of his enemy, though, so it is some form of benefit. But at the same time, yeah, that $500 might have actually helped him more rather than just simply negating the income of your opponent. Just because of the opening phase of the game, you'd really like to have a bit more money here for the harvesters. Because look, this pitbull coming out on first harvest out of War Factory, right? Metalone only on 3 harvesters. I mean, he's been making a pitbull and an APC, whereas Steeltalon already on 5 and making 2 pitbulls. So Steeltalon just flat out 2 harvesters ahead of Metalone. That is very impressive and a very big lead here for Steeltalon. So yeah, I mean, Metalone's starting this game on a pretty bad note in terms of economy, at least. Right, and
Well, remember, like, even no poker edition is gonna be played like quite the same right now.
right, yeah, I mean that's the thing.
The map is known by Steeltalons, so it's not gonna like get the advantage for Metalone. Metalone knows what Steeltalons likes to do: mass people so double refractory, which is of course what the Steeltalons is going for right now. So he needs to know the counter for it. He needs to play defensively, place turrets a lot, or place the barracks like this. Finally,
I mean,
barrack.
yeah, I mean, the thing with Metalone here, I mean, yeah, he's not at a necessarily advantage on this sort of map, but at least he's not at a disadvantage because he actually knows the map himself too. Because it seemed like Odyssey he didn't know at all, hence going for only 1 tip spike out of the 2. Here, however, he does know what he's up for, which so far hasn't really benefited him. He did get a tip spike eventually, but that delay actually cost him a lot of eco damage, so to say, in the early stages of the game. Now that we're going to be trading pit bulls, it seems like 1 for 1 for now. Metal actually did lose a Pitbull initially, though. And actually, Steeltalon this time losing the engagement with Pitbulls here. Not really targeting properly. And Metalone actually will have 2 Pitbulls surviving on red health here, potentially. Yep.
What don't like about Metalone is he's keep pumping out the pit bulls from the 1-4 factory, right? He
Yeah.
also pumped out some infantry out of barracks, but he doesn't make 2 or 3 additional harvesters for the second field. He's out of eco. He's gonna be out of eco really fast.
Yeah, Steeltalons, on the other hand, going above and beyond in terms of harvester count here. He has 6 harvesters on his second field, 4 on his first. And so far, this is probably like the best harvester game from Steeltalons that I've ever seen him do. Yeah, wow, it's really not looking good for Metal. Metal having 2 harvesters with 2 refineries on his expansion field. And only now getting tier 2, whereas Metalone already on an airfield.
We got the capture of the spike, but not capturing the first one. Oh, there it is. Actually, 2 APCs.
Oh, it actually might get intercepted now. That engineer is probably going to die to the pitbulls here if it doesn't move especially. And, ooh, it crawls and not fast enough. It actually does die. So that's kind of a big loss here for Steeltalon, but it's honestly not like it really matters that much. He does recapture the other spike, and that actually kind of, harms Metalone as well. First Hammerhead out of Steeltalon, he actually just loses it to pitbulls, which is not ideally what you want to be doing. You want to have the Hammerheads behind your pitbulls. Your pitbulls actually tanking for the Hammerheads, because, Hammerheads are the more expensive units here. But even then, even with these good traits here, I'm not sure it's going to be enough for Metalone. Metalone, however, now in tier 3, and Steeltalon actually not on tier 3 yet. This is like the first time Metalone is actually getting an advantage of some sort, and it's going to be a tech one. Metalone coming in with these pitbulls, but there are power tanks from Steeltalon coming with the pitbulls, and Metalone does have the power tanks here on the defense. Will they actually get a harvester here, though? Or maybe not. It's barely surviving. Wow. Yeah, I mean, Steeltalon does have the superior army, and Metal actually going for Firehawks. That's interesting. I mean, also, it is to be noted here that Steeltalon is actually, once again, basically a field worth of economy ahead. It's just that his MCV expansion is actually a bit slower than Metalone, surprisingly enough. And Metalone will have the more stable economy, and the Hammerheads actually surviving from Steeltalon. And Firehawks, I actually don't necessarily like here from Metalone. Why? Because he's already behind. Firehawks don't do much in terms of killing pitbulls. And in general, I mean, you do have those pitbulls. So if you position them correctly, those Hammerheads will not be able to taken out by the Firehawks for free. You will always lose at least a Firehawk or 2. Right. If I were Steeltalon, though, I would stop making Hammerheads, though. Even though you can potentially trade them out for the Firehawks very well by using the Pitbulls, but it's not something that's very easy to do, and Firehawks are certainly more maneuverable than the Pitbulls are. So if Metalone uses the Firehawks in a smart way, he can definitely just kill the Hammerheads without taking any casualties. For example, right now, where the Hammerheads are picking away at the power tanks, but they're also not really defended by the pitbulls here. This is prime time for Firehawks. They're coming in here from Metalone. 1 Hammerhead falls, 2, 3, 4, 5 Hammerheads die. So this is completely not worth it here for Steeltalon. Very, very bad trade for him. And he keeps building the Hammerheads. I'm not sure why. Never mind, he sells off the airfield now. That makes perfect sense here.
I mean, he could keep this airfield for orc strikes and overall vision advantage, or some sort of like dropping on Bloodhounds.
Maybe Scout, yeah, but
yeah,
I mean,
purpose.
Sometimes it's better to not, like, if you can do one thing good, just do that, and it's better not to, like, try to bring in a ton of variety here that's not really needed. It's still a tournament game. You have to remember that, right? He cannot really take risks of wasting his attention span on some random orchestra that can potentially lose him the entire Pitbull army. He'd much rather just do what he can and do it good rather than do a lot of things and do them bad. And as we see here, this is basically GDI meta. A very weird GDI meta nonetheless, but it is some sort of a GDI meta here from Steeltalon, as he's going for that Sonic, he's going for that Jugs, he's going for the Marv. I mean, normally you don't kind of push like that. You just kind of have the Marv and you support it with Juggernauts. in terms of GI meta and the MCV. This is kind of like a full-on push, like he's almost taking the field for himself. But Metal will actually struggle with this, probably because of the Sonic emitter. The Firehawks...
He needs to move. Yeah, that's like this.
Yeah, I mean, oh wow, I mean, first Juggernaut from Steeltalon does fall, but they're doing so much damage to this force. I mean, even if Juggernauts get cleaned up, they already paid for themselves here, and the Marv is on its way. You have to remember that. 2 Hammers also flying in here from Steeltalon that weren't cleaned up, and they will be taking out these missile squads. Also, the Pippos here with the upgrade, and they will be helping clean up these Predator tanks. And even though Steeltalon actually completely messed up his eco, he actually has basically no economy at this point. Only long distance harvesting is basically this entire economy. But very similar thing here for Metalone, as Metalone doesn't really have his expansion. It has been denied by Steeltalons with this push. And if this Marv comes out and harvests this field, Metalone will be basically dead lost. He cannot afford that Marv to harvest his field. And the Marv does come out finally here from Steeltalon. Just literally paying for it on the ooh, a lot of people dying from his Sonic emitter shot though. That's not really good for Steeltalon, but yeah, this Marv is out. He basically paid for it with long distance harvesting only. And yeah, he needs to micro it. He needs to harvest this field ASAP, just for the money. Yeah, harvesting the field of your opponent, of course, they're very, very strong, especially if your opponent doesn't have another field to go to. Actually, Metalone going for his own Marv, but it'll be just a tad too slow, and his field is going to start disintegrating.
He's going for his own Marv, and he needs Juggernauts to kill the enemy Marv, and like that's the meta. You need to kill enemy Marv so you can just focus on Juggernauts.
Yeah, the problem is Steeltalon getting all of his cash from his Marv will have the Juggernaut advantage over Metalone. He does bomb a refinery of Steeltalon here with the Firehawks, but it's only one of the two, and I mean, refineries is not necessarily the thing you really want to be bombing in this sort of scenario. He already has a Marv harvesting. He already has the economy. You should be going to something for like tier 3, potentially, or even power plants.
Ooh, that one shot from Sonic, but there's such a low Juggernaut. One down.
Ooh, one survives though, and the Marv is still alive. The Marv coming out from Metalone here finally. And Metalone can actually potentially try to, you know, establish a sort of counterattack here on this field, but the field is almost gone already, and Steeltalon in the meantime already having expansion on his third field. So this is going to be, the longer this goes on, basically, this is going to be the worse and worse it's going to be for Metalone.
That situation looks like Metalone is getting control back in his own hands with the good Sonic emitter positions at the good sniper of the enemy Juggernauts, but at the same time, Eco is on the side of the Steeltalons. But yet again, Talon doesn't produce anything for the War Factory though, from the War Factory as well.
I mean, it seems like Steeltalon and Metalone actually doing similar things. The thing though is that Steeltalon's just a little bit faster, and that tad amount of speed in a mirror match really is giving him the edge here, as you see. I mean, basically, Metalone now fighting for an empty field. Basically, I mean, it's not entirely empty, right? But there's like only 10,000 worth of resources out of like the 40,000 possible, and that is definitely not a lot considering the fact that Steeltalon already having a full field to his own devices here, his own private field. I mean, Metalone actually trying to bomb sort of his Firehawks. That's insane. But he wastes all the bombs on the AA battery, so it's not necessarily worth it. In the meantime, though, the Marv of Steeltalon is going to be lost. And there's a quad railgun Marv out of Metalone. So Steeltalon actually will be probably completely losing this expansion here, unless he has some sort of like a double Sonic drop with some build block in here.
There's a problem though. He's switching the Predator tanks. Of course, that's a decision that might work. Where are the railguns though? He forgot them. Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, Pivotal's here for Steeltalon, still surviving 5 of them, in fact, and they're going to be actually coming into harass here and going for the tier 3, which is actually a pretty smart choice. No tier 3 means no ability to build Sonic emitters and no ability to build Juggernauts here for Metalone, and that is going to be problematic for him. He is, however, pushing forward. There are Sonics out of Steeltalons here to try to defend his MCV, and they are going to be killing both of these Juggernauts and potentially finishing off the Marv. It is a quad railgun Marv here. But 2 Sonic emitters and the Marv is on red health. This is going to be very close. Ooh, it'll barely survive, but it changed the target to the Harvester, and the Sonic emitter shot gets it.
Oh my god, the heroic harvester. That's a sacrifice of the history. Oh my
Wow.
lord. That was so good.
Wow, he literally threw away a harvester for an entire quad railgun Marv, and it seems like the Steel Talon's force is pushing on the back of Metalon's base, but Metalon has nothing for this. And no Marv left anymore, and Steel Talon probably been rebuilding his at the moment, yeah. And Metalon just not having any eco, not really having any third field to go to this entire game. And despite winning that engagement at the top, initially he ends up losing his Marv and the two Juggernauts he had. And it basically ends the game here for him. And not in his favor. Yeah,
That's GG.
that's
GG is
3-0
home.
for Steel Talon. Wow. So we're headed into potentially a match that could lead to match point here between Steel Talon and Metalone to the fourth match of the day. And it seems like we're probably going to be getting another vanilla map here from Metalone. Did Metalone host lobby or...
I don't see. Yeah. I mean, the Steel Talons
No,
hard.
Steel Talon did, yeah. So we're just waiting for Metalone here. To get going with the fourth match of the best of 8, but yeah, so far, GDI metas the entire time, and so far, only really one-sided here. All in favor of Steel Talons. I wonder if Metalone is actually used to playing any other factions, or just he just feels most comfortable with GDI, and hence why he's picking the faction.
I mean, GI is the safe bet.
Yeah, there it is, decision. And by vanilla, I don't mean vanilla patch, I mean just the vanilla map, because there's no poker, obviously.
Switching to Black Hands.
Ooh, there we go. That's what I was been waiting for. Finally. We might actually be getting some sort of very old build here for Black Hand on Tournament Decision, which I am probably not even aware about, so I have no idea what he's going to be going for. It could very well just be a very standard Flame Rush, but who knows what has been happening there in the old days? Potentially, maybe some sort of random infantry push, maybe Reckoners. Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows? I expect the Flame Rush.
Yeah, ready up. And we are going to get started with the fourth match of this best of 8 here between Metalone and Steel Talons. And we're out of the mirror, finally. It took us 3 games, but now we're here. And we're actually going to be seeing some other factions except for GDI, right? In the bottom left-hand corner, playing as the yellow Steel Talons, we have Steel Talons. And in our right-hand corner, playing as the purple Black Hand, we have Metalone. Right, so now this is getting very interesting. To be fair, though, I actually kind of hate Decision personally. Just don't like playing it. It's very claustrophobic for me. But other than that, I mean, I do not mind certainly watching any games on it. And it is a very exciting map to see. Especially with the new faction changes here by both players. Alright, so I'm excited to see if there's going to be any early game strategies from either one here.
Did Metalone just forgot about the second spike?
I think both of them forgot. Oh, no, never mind. No. Steel Talons knows about it. And yeah, Metalone seems like he doesn't go for the second spike here. I wonder why. Maybe he's doing an all-in.
If you're doing all-in, you need second spike anyway.
Right, but you can capture with the engineer from your MCB when you settle off.
I mean, kinda, yeah.
That's the thing. So there is a potential for something like this. I mean, you could of course go for the both spikes and then use the engineer to capture something like the EMP center or the defensive tower. But I mean, efficiency is key sometimes, and if especially if this is a very old rush, right? You could imagine this it was meant to be the most efficient, as efficient as possible here. But he is playing against Steel Talons, the player and the faction, and that might cause a few problems here. Well, the faction mainly, since it does have those Titans, and Titans, although not being very good in terms of just general combat, they're very great when there's something to do with rough terrain or buildings. So in the base of Steel Talon, his Steel Talon forces will be extremely effective, which really would dissuade anyone, any normal human being, from doing some sort of an all-in or rush here.
So far,
Alrighty.
nothing happening, from the Blackhand player.
Yeah.
I expect something else.
I mean, look at Steel Talent. He has the bunker in the bottom right. He has both the garrisons in the middle. Actually, descouted Metalone here in the middle. And the only thing he's not really watching right now is the top of the map, right? But it's a very very slim line here, and he does have a scout on.
Oh, that's
I will have to. Yeah. I will have to ask a few questions to Chaos here on that one, since it is a bug exploit here. Yeah. If anyone doesn't know, crushing infantry inside of a inside of a foxhole like that is possible, but it's also a bug, an exploit, and you're not supposed to do it at all. Right. So I'm not sure if that is, if that warrants a disqualification necessarily. If it was really done intentionally or not. But yeah, we'll have to ask Chaos here. Actually, Gash, if you can do it, that would be nice. While I
um
am watching over the game here. Yeah, and Metalone, sorry, Steel Talon actually going for a very good economy here as well, with 6 harvesters, potentially a 7th harvester and 3 refineries on his first field. That is basically exactly what you're doing on Decision normally. And Metalone behind on that economy, although already getting his 3rd refinery as well. So he is a little behind, but not too badly, since he did go for that double war factory here. Which will obviously delay his economy. And yeah, bikes now from Metalone coming in, and Steel Talent doesn't really have too many forces here to defend this. He does have a few pit bulls though, and he shouldn't be losing a Harvester if he marks it correctly, but the Harvester already half health. And now this time Metalone losing a few bikes here. I'm not sure he's retreating that fast. He could have focused the other Harvester here that was a bit more damaged and potentially even gotten it, but it seems like he has been chased off by Steel Talons. The buggy and the pitbull having a fight here on the bottom, both basically one-shottable here by each other, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, Metalone not really here on the expansion where Steel Talon already is. Actually, Metalone actually opting to go for an operation center first before expanding. Wonder if we're going to be seeing any flame tanks here, as he is Black Hand. Seems like only really bikes coming out from him so far, which is also kind of interesting to see, since it is Decision. I mean, you don't normally see a lot of bikes in something like Decision, since it is a very close map. Like, you normally really want stuff like Scorpion tanks. Unless you really want to split the bikes into a lot of different groups, try to really harass, try to really use their speed to your advantage. And, I mean, he has taken out a tip spike here from Steel Talons with those bikes. And Steel Talons a bit out of position here with his pit bulls riding all the way back. And Metalone does get a Harvester. He will be paying with some bikes here for it, though. I'm not sure that's entirely worth it, but the Harvester is dead nonetheless, and he still has a lot of bikes. Right now, he's transitioning into those Scorpion tanks, and yeah, it seems like Steel Talon so far playing very defensively, not really doing anything aggressive here. Only now really driving out of his pit bulls with the help of the Hammerheads. But not even really trying to attack anything here yet. Yeah, it seems like, I mean, Metalone going for just absolutely pure damage force. Not a single buggy build except for that one scouting bug at the start, and he's just going pure bikes and Scorpion tanks, which could actually work out. In certain situations like this one, potentially, if you use the bikes solely to kill the Hammerheads, and then use the Scorpion tanks to finish off the pit bulls with the help of the bikes, it could certainly be very viable. Now he's actually splitting both the Scorpion tanks and the bikes to different sides of the map, which, I mean, Steel Talons will have to deal with to be able to really do anything in this game. And it seems like he is so far really moving his entire army here for it. The 3 Titans do stay. I mean, there's a lot of Scorpion tanks here though, so the Titans won't really be able to contest them at all.
First, oh, yeah, of course, they're gonna get outmaneuvered. The dozer
And
blades are on.
yeah, and it seems like Metalone actually gonna be getting another harvester of just these bikes, just catching Steel Talons out of position, and the Scorpion tanks will actually probably be getting another harvester for themselves as well. So already 3 harvesters going down for Steel Talons here, and so far Metalone not losing a single one. Titans now are behind the refineries, and now it gets very hard to try to contest anything here on this field for Metalone. He does push back. I mean, ideally, he really wants to get tier 3, and he's already on tier 3. Why does I say that? And Steel Talons, for the moment, not on tier 3. I'm not having even it in the queue. He is attacking, though, for the first time here, and he will be getting at least 1 Harvester. If he focuses it correctly, there's a Sam turret from Metalone coming down, and the Hammerheads will be taking a lot of damage. 2 Harvesters dead for Metalone here, and potentially a third one coming down.
Be more. Definitely there's gonna be more.
Yeah, so Steel Talons coming back here in terms of the Harvester death count, and making Metalone lose potentially even actually more Harvesters than Steel Talons lost himself. Actually, no, only 3 going down. Seems like Metalone will save the rest of his economy here.
That's a lot of red pit bulls.
Right, I mean, but actually though, Metalone on the tech advantage though. It is out for him, and I wonder why he actually built that. It seems like he might have an obelisk queued up by the looks of it, just to try to stop any sort of aggression here, but I'm not... Oh, GG gets called by him, because he just, I guess, doesn't believe in his economy, and never mind, this game is over. I wouldn't say it was really that over. I mean, yeah, you lost a lot of harvesters, but this map in general has very little tib, right? So even losing a lot of harvesters can sometimes not really hurt you all that much. I mean, you can see by his economy, you know, it wasn't ideal, but it also actually was better than some of his other games. So he might have potentially been able to come back from that. But yeah, so far 4-0 for Steel Talons, and this is match point. Alrighty. So did you ride over to Chaos?
Yeah.
Did you respond?
No.
No.
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, well, for the time being, then we will get the games played, and I mean, since it's not that major of a bug, and it didn't lead to a win of Metalone there, you know, in this case, I will probably let it slide, but it is definitely something to take note of, and if it's really up to Chaos's decision here, to see where we proceed from there. But so far, yeah, for now, we'll just get the games played and go from there. Yeah, hopping into the 5th match here, another fairly vanilla map here, Small Town, USA. Oh my god, I think I know what he's gonna do. It's Reaper. It's a Death Storm push. It's a Death Storm push, mark my words. I want to see a Death Storm push. I've never seen it in a live game myself. Wow, anyway, so starting off in top right-hand corner in Small Town, USA, we have Metalone playing as the Purple Reaper, and the bottom-hand corner playing as the Yellow GDI, or Steel Talons. We have Steel Talons. Right, so this map also has 2 tip spikes. It's a very small map, though, and no blue tip, and really just only 1 expansion for both players. But yeah, I really want to see a Death Storm rush. You don't even know how much I want to see a Death Storm rush.
You're so excited about this, bro. It's Kryn. It's
Yeah, but like, you know what? Metalone actually, the player who has been diversifying the most, right? I mean, Steel Talons, we see playing only GDI or Steel Talons. Metalone, on the other hand, here, he did pick a lot of GDI, but he also played Nod, or Black Hand, sorry, and he now is playing Reaper in this game. So the more diversity coming out from him in terms of factions, and I mean, the initial like demonstration of this sort of push, of the Death Storm push, right, was actually on this very map. The only difference is the player doing the push was starting off in the bottom left-hand corner. He was also playing as Reaper, I believe, but he was starting off in the bottom left-hand corner, and he was also Technique, not Metalone. But, oh my god, the engineer from Steel Talons actually killing the buzzer. Wow. Yeah, Steel Talons engineers saving themselves here. Wow. One powerhouse of an engineer. And so far, I'm not sure if it's looking really like a Dev Storm push. He is anti-scouting though. Oh, Steel Talons are apparently waiting for that imposter to come in. Let me see that tier 2. Yes, that tier 2 is going down. The tier 2 is on the map, and that means we're getting at least Devourer tanks. But it seems like an MCV pack up, so probably no Storm Riders. So it's going to be a Devourer Tank MCV base push from Rebirth 17, and it will be scouted by Steeltalons here with his Pitbull early on. So if I were Steeltalons here, I would get really worried because I don't think Steeltalons has ever faced off of such a elaborate strategy here before. I mean, Deathstorm is something I would have liked to see a bit more, but I mean, you can't get everything in this world. At least we're seeing some sort of a very unique play here that I honestly really didn't ever see all that often too.
Anyway, like I see a lot of like Devour pushes for sure.
Yeah, the MC phasing through that tower in the middle. And yeah, proceeding on. I mean, there's one Devourer,
like
two Devourers, and a Corruptor. This is basically textbook Devourer rush here. With the base push coming out from Metalone. And Steeltalons on free Harvester economy, only really now starting to make some sort of counters. And he's going for an airfield off of the command post. I'm really not sure about that play from him. I wonder what he's trying to, get with that. And that Titan of his actually is going to be going down. Lightning Spike dropped from by Metalone. And now the Harvesters of Steeltalons are going to be targeted. Another Titan potentially dying here. Another Titan goes down. This is actually basically lost for Steeltalons. He has nothing. That tier 2 is a big mistake. You have to be building just Titans, and you have to be build blocking here as Steeltalons as much as you can, and try to just, contest it like that. Simply going for airfield work is going to potentially kill the Devourer tanks, but it's going to be too late, as we can see now. Steeltalons on no eco, Photon Cannon going down as well from Metalone, and one Devourer tank going down, but it's not going to be nearly enough. As Steeltalons is going to be losing a second Harvester here to the Lightning Spike potentially, and that second Devourer still lives. Yep, another Harvester here goes down, and Metalone, or sorry, Steeltalon down to 1 red HP Harvester. His third Titan already dying as well, and these Orcas flying back won't even really save him. There's 2 anti-air here from Metalone. 2 Orcas do die, and the third one will follow. Steeltalons has no units left other than that one single Harvester. And that is basically over. GG. I mean, it's the first game that Metalone takes. Kind of a cheesy strategy, I must admit, but it's good to see some sort of a some diversity here. And yeah, it is 4-1. Metalone gets 1 game on the board. Right. The thing here, though, the one thing to be noted here is now Metalone cannot pick one of his vanilla maps. He cannot pick stuff like Pipeline Problems or Tournament Arena. Right now, it's Steeltalons picking the maps. And I sure do hope that Steeltalons did realize the fact that Metalone is not familiar with the map pool, or at least some of the map pool, and he will be picking something like Highland or potentially Teki Turmoil or something along those lines. Since he will definitely have a stronger advantage on those maps, knowing how to play them full well.
Yeah, right now it's gonna be some sort of like Highlands, maybe.
Yeah, Aquatech, actually, this wasn't an all-in. This was just a rush. Or a push and a rush, technically. Or a base push and a rush. It actually wasn't an all-in. All-in is when you sell the MCV. That's why I say that. That's why I call the Dev Storm all-in. Because you do sell the MCV there. In this circumstance, though, there was no MCV sell. So it's technically not an all-in. Since I actually wonder if sometime in history, it has happened that you like go for that Devstorm rush, right? Or not Devstorm, but like Devourer base push, right? Early on in the game on one refinery, and you actually kind of like fail it, but you get a lot of compensation as well, and so you can actually retrieve your MCV and establish an economy and have the game carry on. I wonder if that ever happened. Probably might have actually. But anyways, yeah, here we're going to be seeing the pick of Extraction Plateau. I have no idea how to pronounce it. From Steeltalons. And actually, one more of the simpler maps here. I'm not liking necessarily this pick from him, just due to the fact that there's no blue tip, there's only 1 spike. So it's fairly like standard. Something you might expect. So something like Highlands would catch Metal and potentially more off guard. Here, though, we do see Steeltalons playing as this pink GDI in the bottom left-hand corner, and Metalone playing as the purple Nod in the top right. So once again, we're seeing that Nod faction pick, and by Nod faction, I mean Nod in general, because he picked Black Hen last time, not Nod Vanilla specifically. Right, and yeah, we do see the Metalone going for his spike, and so is Steeltalons. And actually, Metalone going for only 2 Militant Squads scout, a bit of lag coming in here, hopefully not too distracting though for the players. And I assume it's going to be a boogie scout here from Metalone, playing it safe.
It must be. I see like he's allowed of doing like to do this. If the rarity buggy is of course like has more, I see more being more useful than pitbull
Yeah,
sometimes.
so Talon's opting for
Like because
for
of the counts.
2 pairs of 2 rifleman squads. It's almost as if he's playing against my nod and not Metalone's. That's kind of what I do is not, and what I told him I do is not also is I go for 2-2 Milton split, right? 2 on the side, 2 on the side. And if you of course go for 4 riflemen in this GDI here, you basically counter that fully. And not only do you scout, but you also anti-scout. And you kill all of my initial scout units, which is actually very good. But here we're seeing a bit of a different thing happening. Only 2 Milton squads coming out from Metalone. And he does lose both of them, but the buggy is out from him as well. And he will be able to clean up 1 rifleman squad only. Here from Steeltalon. Steeltalon going for 2 voxels here. One of them is a bit far away to see anything or do anything here, but at least it saves the rifleman squad's life. And we're seeing here as Metalone expanding to his opponent's third field. Most likely happening due to a lack of map knowledge. However, there's still a chance and an opportunity at the same time of really getting an advantage from this, because if he's able to secure that field for him, Steeltalons will have trouble expanding to anywhere else here on this map. Yeah,
That's
so far
really
very calm game here. I mean, we see a harvester crush of infantry here from Metalone, which is interesting. It's not something I would ever go for because it's just not efficient, but guess he thinks otherwise. And yeah, I mean, Steeltalons 5 harvesters, Metalone 4, only fifth one coming out now, so he's not that behind considering he did make that buggy. And he is only slightly really behind on the expansion. So I guess so far this is probably one of the best starts from Metalone ever in this best of 8 here against Steeltalons. Maybe Metalone should have been playing not all this time. Who knows? And here's the thing as well, right? Because in mirror matches, if you just play GDI on GDI, it's basically like it comes really down to just how fast the players are and how skillful they are. In terms of different matchups, though, right? It really starts depending on like different gameplay styles, right? In general, a lot of different units and unit interactions and just making decisions, right? Because in GDI mirrors, didn't see a lot of pitbull hammerhead action. Here, however, you generally see stuff like, well, it depends really. That's the thing. There's a lot more options here in a non-mirror match. And yeah, Metalone going for back boogie. Steeltalons.
Safe bet versus pitbulls. Of course, the double factory is going to be countered for against those bikes. They're trying to find the window of opportunity to absolutely do some damage versus the harvesters right now.
That buggy will die, but the harvesting time here that's lost by Steeltalon is going to be worth it, definitely. And the buggy actually still survives, and actually Steeltalons will be having problems here with all these bikes in his first field, not really being countered by anything. The pitbulls are out of position, and Steeltalons loses his first harvester, I hope. Another one left on completely red health. Metalone actually targeting the other harvester here. I'm not sure why he doesn't see the other harvester on HP here. He has to be killing it, but ooh, 1 rocket going for it, but not enough, and that harvester survives. I mean, there are 2 harvesters dead here for Steeltalons, so it actually still might be definitely worth it for Metalone. But not only do you have to kill harvesters, but you also have to have your own economy going, which is what he is currently struggling with, as he is behind on that, when compared to Steeltalon. Steeltalon already getting out 9 harvesters, even with losing 2, and Metalone's still stuck on 6. So despite losing 2 harvesters, Steeltalon actually, ooh, never mind, bikes coming in again, and going to be killing 2 more harvesters here from Steeltalon. So that free harvester advantage from Steeltalon completely nullified, and a ton of lost mining time from him as well. Another harvester set on red health, and the simultaneous attack by Scorpion tanks from Metalone here is going to get another harvester here from Steeltalon. So Steeltalon, even though he was ahead on Eco Temp early there, Metalone is going to be bringing that back.
And another dive of the bikes.
Yeah, and wow, and yeah, and they're going to be cleaning up another harvester, or potentially another 2 harvesters. And yes, Steeltalon here collapsing basically. He has to be fighting here Scorpion tanks with pit bulls. Never mind, another hard surviving here from Steel Talons, but now it's just looking very bad for him.
Absolutely. The two bikes blocking the access to the Tiberium for those harvesters in the main.
Yeah, and they're going to be getting that Harcher most likely if Metalon does notice it. And it seems like he does. And yeah, that Harcher dies. So Steel Talons actually left with considerable amount of Harvesters. He's still left with 7 Harvesters, right? But he did lose a lot of money just in Harvesters, which is not ideal.
I mean, look at the eco actually. He's still better than for Steel Talons.
Right, but he was spending money on Harvesters this entire time, while Metalone wasn't really bothered with that. He was spending money on units and units alone, and we're seeing here this overwhelming number of Scorpion tanks. There's nothing for Steel Talons to counter this. He has no more Pitbulls left, and the Hammerheads are way too late. He's gonna be losing even more Harvesters now. And this is basically practically lost here. There's too many Scorpion tanks in this base. So much lost mining time here from Steel Talons. And only now the first Predator tank's coming out, but he doesn't even have enough money to support this production. And he's going to be losing more and more Harvesters. This is just getting further and further out of control for him.
It's absolutely over. The Steel Talons needs to play another game. He's still on watch point though. He has the opportunity to get comeback from this. There's too many Scorpion there. Even one single Hammerhead, 2 single Hammerheads will not stop this.
And the bikes coming out from Metalone here will spell the end here for the Hammerheads. And yeah, that's gonna end the game here basically. Steel Talon has nothing. Wow, that's interesting. I mean, perhaps Metalone performs better under pressure. Perhaps that's just it. And the moment he's on match point, he stops playing random bullshit and just decides to pick Reaper, go for the solid Devourer push, slash rush basically.
Maybe it will be some sort of
right. And now picking Nod and just playing a pretty standard bike buggy with just a simultaneous attack here on Steel Talon. Steel Talon's not really able to hold against that. So but actually, that is very interesting.
If he would hold, he would absolutely even be on the better position, I think, because let's be honest, Metalone has tendency to forget about making additional harvesters. He was on 6 harvesters.
Oh, there it is. That's what I like. The Highlands pick from Steel Talons. Right? That's the thing. Because despite... I mean, this is a very hard map to play in general. Right? But the thing is, he will most certainly know how to play this map better than Metalone.
What do you mean it's hard map? He's speaking GDI, he's speaking Highlands. What do you mean it's hard?
Yeah, there's 2 blue tips to control. There's still 2 tip spikes for either player, which can get killed.
Easy.
You know, and the expansion get wacky sometimes as well. So we're waiting for Metalone here, and yeah, it's 4-2 now. Still match point for Steel Talons, yeah, but it is 4-2. So Metalone definitely fighting back here. Not going to end this on a complete wipe here, complete sweep. And hope he will be coming back here. There he is. And yep, and we'll be hopping on in to the 7th match of this best of 8. I didn't even think we would get so far, but now we're here, and now it's getting very interesting. Metalone's still playing No, no, how dare you. Um, the score is currently 4-2. I mean, I wrote in chat if you can read that. I mean, there's a bit of a delay on stream. Yeah, it is 4-2 in favor of Steel Talon. And we are seeing that Black Hand pick from Metalone. So Metalone really forsaking GDI here, saying mirrors are just not my thing, and yeah, completely opting to go for different factions here. And yeah, starting off the 7th game of this best of 8, playing on Torment Highlands. We do have Metalone playing as the purple Black Hand on the left-hand side of the map, and Steel Talons playing as the pink GDI on the right-hand side.
Let's be honest, it's definitely like considered the GDI map.
It is considered a GM map, indeed, yeah, but actually, if played correctly, Nod can really dominate this game. I mean, GDI really gets strong on this map towards the very end, right? At the very start of of this map, generally in the start to mid game, GDI is actually rather weak compared to some other factions here. Not being definitely the superior one in that case, right? I mean, they can go for a double war factor. They can secure both blue tip fields, and if done correctly, and if you can pressure the GDI at the same time, hold them in the base, you know, get map control with the blue tip economy, you can definitely just overpower the GDI and break their defenses, just even with tier 1 spam. I wonder if we're going to be seeing any rushes here, though, from Metalone. Metalone actually holding up his War Factory quite a lot. Not sure why that happened. Maybe he forgot to queue something. But he will be placing it down now. Yeah, this is unfortunate for Metalone. But we'll see if he's able to do anything with this. As an anti-scout/scouting buggy coming out from him now. And it won't be killing that squad in time, but at least damaging it a little bit. 2 foxholes here from Steeltalons, interestingly enough. And Metalone will be getting a scout here as well. But yeah, Steeltalons now is actually kind of ahead on eco. Actually, not by that much, surprisingly enough. Despite that War Factory from Metalone being held up, I mean, he's only really now, you know, maybe 5 seconds behind. I would expect it to be way worse if he held up his War Factory for like 10 or 20 seconds or something.
I'm interested where this MCV of Metalone is moving.
That's actually, yeah, and that's actually a common mistake that I've spotted myself when playing with a few newer players on this map. It seems like they treat the middle field as the first expansion, whereas it really isn't. Why not, you may ask? Even though it might look very alluring. I mean, it is a very big field and grows pretty quickly as well. So you might say, oh yeah, very good field. Well, the main problem with that expansion primarily is the defense of the harvesters. Right, you're putting the refineries towards your opponent, which means your harvester will be docking that way as well, and they'll be way more vulnerable than they otherwise would have been. Also, it's a bit harder to control that sort of territory, right? I mean, if you go to the corner, right, you just kind of have this corner that you really need to take care of and protect with your army, and have some scouting around. Here, when you're in the middle, though, you need to be watching, you know, from all directions, from the right, the top, the bottom. Here we're seeing just a lot of bikes here from Metalone. Surprisingly enough, though, he has been possibly trading here against Steeltalons, and there's one buggy here from Metalone that he probably made initially. And yeah, interestingly enough, the spike buggy combination is something that he's really going for, and it has been really working out for him so far. Steeltalons trading a Pitbull for a bike, and that's not a good trade for Steeltalons, and these squads here to draw some fire as well. Another trade of a Pitbull for a bike, and I think actually 2 Pitbulls dying for a single bike there. Now Steeltalons in a lot of trouble, placing down 2 watchtowers to defend, and going for prayer tanks, but he will be losing at least 1 harvester, and he's already basically behind an economy now. 3 watchtowers going down, and he now has nothing to defend this bike. Well, he has 1 single Pitbull, but not enough economy, it seems like. And the second Pitbull coming out, 3 Pitbulls, 4 Pitbulls now out on the field, but the bike is still here, and is forcing another harvester off the line. not really able to get any other harvesters here, but he did certainly mess up a lot of what Steeltalons was going for. And what is good with this at the same time is Metalone currently is securing himself the middle still. And the more and more infrastructure he gets in the middle, the easier for him it's going to be to control it. And the more and more he keeps Steeltalons in his base, the easier for him it's going to be to take this game. Because, I mean, if Steeltalons misses the opportunity to fight, to kill Metalone's eco in the middle, he might actually completely lose the game. Because then he would have nowhere to expand himself. So despite that being a disadvantage, expanding to the middle, it can actually convert itself into an advantage if you give it long enough time. Another Harvester here going down 4 Steeltalons from Metalone's bike dive. And it's literally just bikes. I mean, that's kind of impressive. It's not even bike buggy at this point, it's just bikes. And it seems like Metalone is doing a similar thing once again. He's going for Scorps and bikes. And he's just going to be having an army of Scorps fighting the Pitbulls of Steeltalons, and an army of bikes just diving for his Harvesters. And Steeltalons going for that command post again, doing basically the same exact build, and I'm not sure if it's going to work for him this time around. He's losing a lot of Pitbulls here to the Scorpion tanks. That's very bad because he's going to be able to contest the bike buggy of Metalone. And despite him having Predator tanks that will win against the Scorpions, I think this is a good enough distraction here from Metalone that he can actually go in with the bikes here and potentially even get another Harvester. He has to act quick though because it seems like Steeltalons has caught on and is moving his army here to the bottom. But Metalone actually going in once again with the Scorpion tanks. He's literally just going to be juking him around. Steeltalons actually moving one Predator tank to the bottom, and he does catch the bike, so Steeltalons really has caught on, but 2 bikes traded for 1 Predator tank. And a lot of Scorps amassing here at the top. They will be dying slowly but surely here from Metalone. Metalone doesn't really want to engage into this, but something like this is exactly what I was talking about when I said keeping the GDI in his base. Right? This is basically exactly what I'm talking about. Since, look, if there's Scorpion tanks at the top, bikes at the bottom, Steeltalons can't leave his base at all. Right? Because the moment he does so, right, he'll be losing Harvesters, which he cannot afford to lose. So now, actually, 2 refineries getting established here in the middle of the field by Metalone. Metalone transferring all over the Harvesters here as well, and he can potentially go for 3 or even 4 refineries at this point. And this might be getting very, very dangerous here for Steeltalons. He's also having 2 Harvesters off the line here for a pretty long time. Metalone losing all of his bikes, but I'm not sure if it's gonna really matter here. I mean, he is trading pretty badly against Predator tanks. Don't really want to have Scorps versus Preds, especially if a Railgun upgrade is going to come out. And it seems like a Railgun upgrade is in the works. So Metalone really has to either throw these Scorpions out or try to transition into something else that would work better against Railgun Preds. And infantry is one of those things, especially as Black Hand.
Where's the APM though? Steeltalons doesn't have APM for APCs.
Yeah, wow, he never queued up APM because he didn't go from Hammerheads. Probably he's just trying to drive over the infantry here, which will be successful, but at what cost? I mean, he's losing a lot of units here, and this Pred APC is nice, but it's not the best, as Scorpion tanks from Metalone already in Steeltalon's base, and they've just killed two more Harvesters. Regular upgrade comes online, but at what cost? He's taking bad trades on the front line. He's having Scorpion tanks right in his base. I mean, the Scorpion tanks will be getting killed now by the Preds here. But Steeltalon's forced to basically having 1 Tiberium field with 4 Harvesters worth of an economy, while Metalone sitting on that midfield comfortably with his 2 refineries. Yeah, Scorpion tanks will be getting mostly killed here by from Metalone. Unfortunately, loses them completely. But he is starting to mass up the infantry army here, and Steeltalons might not even be able to really engage this infantry force the more and more it builds up. He's going for a Marv himself as well. And, I mean, Metalone shouldn't really be engaging outside of his base here with his infantry, ideally. He is going to be getting some nice trades here off for the Predator tanks, but now most of the force from Steeltalons is coming over, and the crushers are going to be very, very bad here from Metalone. They are indeed coming in. I mean, there's a lot of casualties from both sides here. It is a thing to be noted. A lot of Predators now on red health, and a lot of infantry going down. Now, Steeltalons does a retreat here. Yeah, wow, a lot of red health Predator tanks here. Jesus.
Still no APM though.
It's only APM. I mean, at this point, there is really no need for APM unless you're going for Watchtowers, but he is GDI, so he would much rather go for Sonic emitters. And to be fair, he doesn't have any more APCs, or at least enough of an APC force to even really justify going for APM at this point. It would have been way better earlier. Yes, certainly, it's a must-have upgrade for GDI, and he's going for it now, but I'm not even really sure for that. That Marv is kind of out of position. There's the first Watchtower here, so yeah, he will be getting AP ammo justifiably, so to say, and this infantry from Metalone actually pushing forward. There isn't a lot of infantry, so this splash damage from the Marv and the Watchtower support will be actually doing a lot, but if actually Metalone is able to take out the MCV here and burn it down, then this will be very huge for him. Swarming tanks from Metalone also distracting some of the forces of Steeltalon at the top. And the Marv is moving into the infantry, taking a lot of fire damage. And it's already right help. It's going down, down, lower. Nothing to repair, nothing to stop this. And the Marv is going to be going down. Wow. Metalone just literally infantry spamming his way to victory. A heroic Milton rocket swat here. Oh, snipers coming down from Steeltalon, but it's too little too late as the MCV is going to die. The fence is already laid on the MCV as well. And it seems like even 3 Watchtowers here might not be enough. I mean, actually, no, surprisingly, they are doing enough. And the MCU will be going to red health, but a Purifier comes out and is just walking forward with his flame, burning down the refinery and anything it sees in its gaze, I guess. And wow, it's still not gonna be enough. Even the Purifier gets taken out by the Predator tanks of Steeltalons, and he's gonna be going for a barracks to repair his MCV urgently with that engineer. Yeah, it seems like his MCV, despite being on red health, will not be taken out. Metalone here now caught in a bit of a problematic position as there is another Sonic emitter coming out from Steeltalons, and the Purifier of Metalone actually gets recaptured as well by Steeltalons. I mean, here though, I'm not even sure who's exactly winning, because Metalone has the better hold on the middle area, and he has the eco that Steeltalons doesn't have. Despite Steeltalons going for a Marv, Metalone's still seemingly in a better position.
Those snipers are paying off though.
Yeah, the snipers are really doing a lot of work. They might be going heroic actually as well.
It's gonna take some time though.
Really soon. Wow, actually Metalone kind of falling apart here now. Look at the sniper doing so much work. Wow, and no one actually still mining blue tip on this entire map. Surprisingly enough, and now the Marv is rolling up for Steeltalon, and now basically most of the infantry is taken out by the snipers of basically most of the infantry of Metalone is taken out by the snipers of Steeltalon. He has nothing left really, and now he's even forced away from the field. I mean, if he would have expanded backwards earlier on and taken the backwards field, that would have been so much better. But actually, Steeltalon's Marv is once again out of position, taking a lot of damage here, but it will be surviving this time around. As the snipers and the watchtower wall is here. Hopefully it's not going to be just standing there. Okay, yeah, Marv is falling back here. But yeah, Steeltalon's able to establish an economy here and able to negate the economy of Metalone. And yeah, just these snipers just doing literally the God's work. Ooh, 2 obelisks going down. Second obelisk going down here from Metalone. Metalone still has some fight in him, but yeah, I mean, ideally he wanted to be harvesting the blue tips, both blue tip fields, and his normal second field as well. If he would have been doing that all this time, he probably would have won this game already. But so far from what we've seen, he has been a bit delayed on his macro, and it shows here as well. Right. I mean, Steeltalon also seemingly struggling in terms of economy, which is to be duly noted. But yeah, 2 Juggernauts coming out from him. The Marv is getting a lot of heals from the engineers. He's just spamming out a lot of snipers. And Metalone only has really 2 harvesters harvesting, which is not nearly enough. And he's also black-handed. Harvesters are visible, and one of them already gets killed by the Marv.
Oh god, the blue tip feels holy. It's hard to like believe.
Yeah, Steeltalon's actually going to be the first player going for the blue tip here in the bottom with 2 harvesters of his. But that is the only harvesters he has. Metalone on 1 harvester, Steeltalon's on 2. This is actually not not a very eco-rich game here in the end game, but despite having a lot of Tiberium everywhere on the map, but I mean, I'm not sure why Steel Talents isn't pushing through. He has the Space Command uplink, he has the tier 4, he has the abilities, he has 2 Juggernauts, he has his Marv, he has the snipers, he basically has everything he needs to fight Metalone here. And
Finally,
Metalone,
Juggernaut on field. And
not
tier
not really
4.
having anything. Yeah, he's gonna kill the Obelisk here from Metalone. These Juggernauts are going to basically win him the game here at this point. Safely win him the game. It's not like he can't win the game without the Juggernauts. It's just they're going to win him the game essentially safely. Because, I mean, he just can just chill back and enjoy the show. While the Juggernauts are killing Metal in space. Taking him in Mars a little bit just for that extra income. And Mars slipping forward, but not too much this time. So it should be fine. And yeah, the infantry going forward as well to try to catch up to Mars. But snipers are here. And yeah, Metal just instantly losing his entire force. GG gets called by Metalone, and yeah, this is how this best of 8 is going to end. A GDI late game win on
I mean, late game.
Highlands. Yeah, it's actually not that late to be fair. It's just like basically as soon as the second expansion comes out from GDI, that's basically when it happens. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, so well played by both players here. Actually, interesting to see Metalone coming back with 2 wins here before he finally succumbs to Steeltalons' match point score and does lose a game, leading to an early loss. But yeah, 5-2 is better than 5-0. All things considered here. Yeah, so Steeltalons ends up winning this best of 8. Congratulations to him, and as you can, and some of you can probably tell me by voice, I'm basically falling asleep here. So sorry, we're not gonna be continuing the stream with any other casts here, as no other matches are really gonna be played, and I will be ending it basically. Well, I mean now. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. It was a pleasure to cast. And yeah, see you guys next time. Possibly tomorrow, possibly later, sometime later this week or next week. But I'll be surely coming back to cast the low mid tournament further.